Disney's Pop Century Resort and Disney's Art of Animation Resort sit across each other on a very weirdly shaped lake. It's an hourglass, built that way to fit the theming of Pop Century and a now abandoned second resort. This is the history of Hourglass Lake at Walt Disney World. Disney's Pop Century Resort is currently one of the 4 value resorts on Walt Disney World property, the other 3 being All-Star Movies, All-Star Sports, and All-Star Music. After the success of all 3 All-Star resorts, Disney began planning a new value resort in 1999. The new resort was to open in 2001 and would contain 2 collections of units on either side of the lake. The lake, seen here, would be shaped like an hourglass, with a bridge in the middle connecting the 2 sides. The bridge would be called Generation Gap Bridge. One side would be the classic years side. This would have units themed after the 1950s through 1990s. The other side, the legendary years, with 1910 through 1940. Together, both sides would tell the story of pop culture through the 20th century, hence the name Pop Century Resort. Construction began on both sides once the lake was done being built. However, after the attacks on 9/11, Disney had to pull funding on almost every project in progress due to the severe decline in tourism, and this included Pop Century. When they decided to continue the construction, they finished with only the classic years side, with the legendary years to be finished later when more funding became available. This is the legendary side that never opened, and this is Pop Century almost exactly how we know it today. The classic years units opened in December of 2003. Pop Century was now the largest value resort on property, with 10 of the T-shaped buildings identical to those at the All-Star resorts, except these were 4 stories instead of 3 like those previously. Meanwhile, the other side of the lake sat abandoned for years. The buildings that had already been put up remained empty. The rest of the property sat vacant, with a bridge leading to nowhere coming from Pop Century. The parking lots were actually completed, and they were used as overflow parking for the nearby ESPN Wide World of Sports complex. It remained that way until 2010, when Disney announced plans to build a brand new hotel there and completely scrap the other half of Pop Century. The idea was the Art of Animation Resort. The new resort was to open in 2012 and be themed after Disney's most popular animated movies. The now unnamed bridge across the lake still connects the 2 resorts and now houses the station for the Disney Skyliner. Hourglass Lake sits on Disney property as a reminder of the scrapped ideas for the other half of Pop Century's century. It is now random and an unfitting piece of theming stuck between 2 resorts that are heavily themed but have nothing to do with each other. The lake is just one of many abandoned pieces of Imagineering left around Walt Disney World property. What is your favorite abandoned Disney project? Comment down below any other ideas for abandoned Disney project you'd like to see me cover.